Man, look at that kitchen ceiling. Look at this vaulted ceiling. It's beautiful. Look at that beam and this dining room ceiling. That's fantastic, buddy. Nice job.
Why do I have a feeling like I just got promoted to permanent back roller?
Because you did. Hey gang, welcome back to our channel. I'm Paul with StudPack. In our previous video, you saw Jordan and I interview Josh. He was part of the team that did this amazing job on finishing this drywall. We're super excited about it. And today, we're even more excited to see what it's gonna look like under a coat of primer. And so after our trip to Washington, when Jordan and I painted the whole inside of that house in an afternoon with a lot of help, I feel like we're fresh off the painting bus and we got our sprayer rebuilt. It's ready to go. I'm ready to go. I can't wait to see what a finished coat looks like over this master drywall finish right here. That's gonna be fantastic. So we just have a couple more things to do to get ready for spraying. The first thing we wanna do, cover all these electrical boxes. They go super quick, just a little piece of paper, stuff it right in there. Now I'm noticing that Josh did get a little bit of texture in there. May have to ding him half a star, gang. 4.5 stars for Josh for getting texture in there. What do you think? But we don't wanna paint these white because who knows, I might come in here and, oh man, that's hot. So we're gonna cover that, make sure it's good, and we can see the color of our wires. And the other thing we're gonna do, we're gonna block these registers with some paper so we don't spray all that insulation white inside. It stays nice and black. But they got this thing cranking today, man. We may have to use some liquid nails up there to hold that paper. Oh, that feels good. All right, the last thing we gotta do is this fireplace. You've seen it in a lot of the videos, but we've never really talked about it with you guys and what our plan is for it. All that brick gets covered up. We're gonna apply a beautiful ledger stone directly to this brick with thin set. And we don't wanna paint that because thin set doesn't stick to paint. Same goes with your floor, gotta be clean. Last thing we want to happen 6 months from now, we get a phone call from the coach saying, hey, ledger stone's laying on the floor, it's falling down. We don't want that to happen. Clean brick, nice thin set bond, stuff will be there forever. So we're gonna cover that, cover the hearth, and I think we'll be ready, man. What do you think you wanna do? You wanna do boxes and vents, or you wanna hit that fireplace?
I think I'll take the fireplace.
All right, man.
That leaves you with boxes and vents.
I can handle it.
Let's do it.
Alrighty gang, we are almost ready to prime. Switches and covers, covered up, check. Fireplace covered, check. Vents covered, check. Our beautiful temporary island, the most important thing of all in this kitchen remodel, covered up, check. Now we're ready to load up some paint under our beautiful clean Magnum X7 by Graco, and check this out. A lot of you commented about this. I usually do it anyway, but we never showed it. We put a 1-gallon paint strainer over the factory suction tube, a new filter in our gun. We are triple filtered here. And I'm anxious to see how this thing sprays. I'm not expecting one clog or having to reverse that tip even once. If it does, I may just spray this thing white just in spite.
Well, don't do that, because that sounds like something that I gotta clean up later.
Alrighty gang, let's talk about using a sprayer to spray paint the inside of a house. We've done it a few times, especially back in Washington. Like we said, we just did one, came out beautifully. But sometimes you come back the next day in the right light, depending on the paint, the product, the filter condition, we can actually see, I can see, Jordan can see, the strokes from our sprayer. Now we're always striving for perfection, how to do the best job we possibly can. So today we're gonna back roll after we spray. What is back rolling? I'm gonna apply the paint with the sprayer quickly. Jordan's gonna have a paint roller on an extension and just roll it out. One pass, that's all we'll need. Why do we need to do that? When that roller is against the wall, and it's gonna push that paint into this texture, into that drywall, and we're gonna get super adhesion. The other thing it does, say I'm painting and my elbow hits that wall. I'm gonna have a buildup of paint right here. Probably won't happen, but sometimes, seems like every job I do it at least once. When you're rolling, you can just roll that extra paint right out. So back rolling today, it's gonna be a new process for us. We have either just rolled it on or just sprayed it on. Never both. I'm anxious to see how it works, and especially I'm anxious to see how it looks tomorrow when it's all dry. So let's get suited up, get our Magnum ready to paint, and get this thing going.
Woo! That is done.
Alrighty guys, we just painted that whole inside of the house and back rolled it. It came out awesome. We love the way the back rolling turned out. We're gonna tell you more about it tomorrow when we can actually see how this thing dried. We sprayed right at about 9 gallons. We have 1 gallon left.
Man, we're good at guessing, aren't we?
Came out perfect. So we're gonna go home, get cleaned up, get some rest, and be back bright and early tomorrow and show you how this thing turned out. Alrighty gang, it is the next day. Jordan and I have been so anxious to get back over here and see how our back rolling turned out after we sprayed it. It's the first time we ever tried it. Maybe this will be our new method from here on out. Let's go inside and check it out. Wow, look at that, dude. That looks incredible. If I didn't know better, I would say that is 1 coat of finish over a primer. That is not 1 coat of primer. It covered that well over all that old drywall and the new drywall and all those patches and all the texture. Seeing it in this light right now, it is so even, so much better than just a roller applied.
Or just a sprayer.
That's right. Alrighty gang, so based off of what Jordan and I are seeing right now, face value, back rolling is gonna be the way we do it from now on. Just check out this wall over here. As I see all this afternoon sun pouring in the front door and I'm sighting down this wall, it is flat. The paint is applied evenly. I mean, we had a patch right here, a patch here. This was wallpaper over here, over old drywall, and now it's so consistent and even, just beautiful. And Jordan and I felt like we did a 3-star drywall hanging job on this project, maybe a little better than that. Josh and his crew came in here, did a beautiful 5-star job on the finishing, and we want to maintain that level of quality with the painting. And we think that back rolling is going to be a key part of the painting on this project and future projects going forward. And look guys, to be honest, we're all guilty of going to the store, buying the cheapest primer they have on the shelf, getting whatever brush or roller we have in the back of the truck, throwing it up there, missing spots. It's thin here, it's thick there, but it doesn't matter because it's all going to get covered with a finish coat, right? So we thought with the sprayer, spraying a primer, it would be much better because we get an even coat, nice coverage and all that. But what we've learned is that an airless sprayer needs a little help sometimes. When we sprayed that house in Washington, it was a finish coat over a previously applied finish coat, so we didn't have to back roll. What we're talking about is a primer over brand new drywall or old drywall that's been skim coated with texture.
Although I feel like back rolling even a finish coat on a finish coat, it couldn't hurt.
Couldn't hurt. So the question is, when do you back roll? I mean, if I'm painting a metal front door or a fiberglass front door, I'm not gonna back roll it. I want that nice factory finish that comes out of that sprayer. Or if you're spray painting your cabinets in your kitchen, again, you want that nice sprayer finish. Are you gonna back roll your car when you paint it? Absolutely not. It depends on the surface. So we're talking about drywall, like we said. And if you're unsure, gang, find a closet, a pantry, something like that. Spray 2 sections, back roll 1, take a step back, and look at it and see which one you like better. Chances are, on new construction, new drywall, new texture, you're gonna like the back rolled surface much better than the sprayed only surface. So hey gang, we ended up having a lot of different surfaces we were painting over here, even though it was all freshly textured. Underneath that texture, it was all different. And Jordan could notice it in the roller. For instance, on this wall, even though I applied the same amount of paint with the sprayer, the roller was sliding on here. We've all been there. We've all been painting with a roller and all of a sudden it starts to slide and we got to kind of back off so it starts to roll again. And then up here, he noticed it was absorbing much faster than over here. And that had to do again with that roller sliding and why it was sliding. It's because the paint is being absorbed differently on brand new drywall and brand new texture than it is on drywall that's got a coat of paint or wallpaper under it.
Yeah, and sometimes I'd be back rolling behind you and I'm right behind you, but it seems like I wasn't even going fast enough because that porous new texture and that porous new drywall is absorbing it so fast that you either have to lay down a thicker coat or you just got to go really fast. I mean, the window of opportunity to back roll is pretty small.
Yeah, and we're not talking minutes, we're talking seconds.
Yeah.
Right. And so I made a mental note to myself as I'm spraying, okay, is this new or is this old? If it was old drywall, I would go a little faster so I had a little lighter coat, and that made it easier for Jordan to roll it. The other thing we noticed right away about the advantages of back rolling is the visual difference it makes in the appearance of the paint. So we started spraying right here in the foyer at the entry door, and I worked my way to the right, my right, as Jordan was back rolling over here. And as we reviewed the footage last night from the studio in New York City, we could tell that you could see the reflection of the front door in the primer on the ceiling. We've never noticed that before, rolling primer. So as Jordan started back rolling, that reflection got a little softer. So the sprayer lays down an even high gloss finish, but the roller softens it and helps to scatter that light. And that's what we want. We don't want a reflective ceiling. We want a ceiling that scatters the light evenly. And that's what back rolling did for us on this project. So we're super excited about that. So soft is the perfect word to describe what a back rolling does to paint that's been applied with an airless sprayer. The airless sprayer does a great job, but it puts it on kind of heavy, pretty evenly. And I don't think it's working that paint in to this texture and all the pores. And that's what back rolling does. It's like the combination of spraying and back rolling is a custom recipe for each wall in your home and in your remodel based on what is behind the paint. And speaking of that painter, not one single clog after we changed all the filters. So we're so glad we did the maintenance on this sprayer because we were getting lots of spits before. Like we said, 0 spits on this one. Did a perfect job. And there's nothing more frustrating as a painter to have that thing start to spit right before it clogs on your new paint. And now you got to deal with it later. and we would have messed up Josh's perfect drywall finish. And you guys are always wondering where dislikes come from. It'd probably be Josh disliking this video because we messed up his finish. So we've got our beautiful drywall finishing job. One coat of primer on here, but there's one thing we want to do before we start painting. We have very minimal amount of nibs on the paint. So let me show you what a nib is. Can you see these little raised portions right here? That's going to show up through our finish coat. So if we don't knock all those little bits down, they're going to shine right through our finish coat. And especially with this evening sun coming through here, they're actually casting a little shadow and it's going to highlight them. So I'm going to grab a pole sander, knock them off, and get it done. Alrighty gang, we gave that ceiling a quick sanding. I forgot my drywall sander at home, so I had to run to the store and buy that one. Usually I'm excited about getting new tools, but that thing's going right in the trash. So I'm all suited up. Jordan's gonna get suited up, and let's start painting that ceiling. Whew. Alrighty gang, we just sprayed and back rolled all those ceilings with our first coat of Promar 200. And you know what? That may be the only coat. We're gonna check it out later. But speaking of back rolling, Jordan, any tips and tricks on that you picked up while you were doing all that?
Two big things that I noticed when I was back rolling was I was not as focused as much as where I was back rolling. And I know that might sound kind of like, but when we first started in there, I couldn't tell the difference between the primer or the paint, dude. So I pretty much had to guess. Now I had a really good idea of my overlaps and I was being real cautious, but it was a lot of guesswork. And on my end, the thing that I was focused on the most was the amount of pressure that I was applying, light pressure and even pressure. Right. Using both of my arms, my back, every stabilizer that I had to do even and light pressure. Because if you press too hard, you're gonna get streaks. Yep. And if you don't press hard enough, it's obviously not gonna do a good job. Even pressure all the way, dude. Yep,
and you should have no paint squeeze out from the edges of the rollers. That's how light of a touch.
Right, and sometimes I would get paint squeeze out, and that was my key to back off on the pressure. Because sometimes when I'm getting tired, I'm trying to compensate, fight it. So that was pretty cool.
And then at the end, well, not at the end, but right after we started, I would get, so I was in a good angle with the light, and I could direct you as places you missed, and you were telling me places I missed, because it was that hard to see the difference between the color of the primer and the color of our paint. So you did such a great job back rolling, dude. You know that promotion you got to back roller?
Sure do.
I think you just earned a life sentence, bud. So while we were in the backyard cleaning the gun, got a nice breeze tonight. It actually was going through this house. We got the front and back door open. That paint is drying pretty fast. We took a look at it and we're gonna show you on the next video. Stay tuned. And you guys already know what we want you to do with that like button. Spray it and back roll it for us. Leave us a question, leave us a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you on our next video.